In the top stories, Water Services Department urging residents to conserve water as the Federation remains under an extended drought warning. Massive regional search underway for a small aircraft that vanished over the southern Caribbean, and the United States and Iran have reached an initial agreement to extend their ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Monday, the 15th of June, 2026. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, residents of St. Kitts and Nevis are being urged to conserve water as the Federation remains under a drought warning that is expected to last through November. The appeal comes from the Water Services Department, which outlined several water-saving measures during a press conference on Friday at the National Emergency Management Agency headquarters. Department Manager and Water Engineer Cromwell Williams said rainfall across the Federation remains significantly below normal. He cited figures from the St. Kitts Meteorological Office showing just half an inch recorded for June as of the 11th. The warning echoes Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew's comments in Parliament on Thursday, where he described the drought as one of the most serious in recent history. He linked the conditions to the current El Niño cycle and broader climate change.
Rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, and increasingly unpredictable weather events are realities that small island developing states such as ours must now confront with urgency and determination. And I'm pleased to say this is why we came up with our vision, a sustainable island state, in an effort to make sure we are proactive in dealing with these phenomena. The results has been a substantial reduction in rainfall, Madam Speaker, and the natural replenishment of our water resources. Wells, aquifers, and other water sources have come under tremendous pressure.
Meanwhile, Mr. Williams said the National Drought Response Plan calls on residents to act immediately to reduce water waste, including checking homes and businesses for leaks, especially in toilets, which can waste hundreds of gallons a day if not repaired. Residents are being urged to report suspected leaks to the Water Services Department at 467-1005 or 467-1447. The department is also asking residents to prioritize water for essential uses and cut back on things like watering lawns and washing cars. They're also encouraging people to recycle water where possible, such as using rinse water from household chores for gardening. Williams commended the government for expanding the nation's water production capacity through 2 desalination plants commissioned over the past 4 years, which together produce more than 2 million gallons of potable water daily. Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew met on Friday with Spain's ambassador to St. Kitts and Nevis, José López de Turizo, to discuss opportunities for greater cooperation between the two countries. According to the Prime Minister, the discussions focused on strengthening the long-standing relationship between the Federation and Spain and exploring areas of mutual interest. The talks also explored opportunities for partnership that could support economic development and other shared priorities. Ambassador López de Turizo is a career diplomat with more than 3 decades of experience in Spain's foreign service and currently represents his country in St. Kitts and Nevis and several other Caribbean stations. The meeting forms part of ongoing diplomatic engagements between the Federation and its international partners. In other news, the National Assembly is scheduled to meet on Thursday, June 18 at 10 a.m. at government headquarters in Basse-Terre. Officials say the order paper and other related documents will be issued at a later date. The sitting will be broadcast live on ZIZ radio and television as well as other participating radio stations. It'll also be streamed live on www.zizonline.com. Copies of any bills to be considered during the sitting will be made available on the SKNIS or St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service website as they are released. We now move to news on the regional scene. A massive regional search is underway after a small aircraft vanished over the weekend in the southern Caribbean on a flight from St. Vincent to Tobago. The Dominican Republic registered Beech 58P registration HI1145 departed Argyle International Airport with 2 people on board and lost contact shortly after, south of St. Vincent airspace. Its last known position was near Grenadian or Venezuelan waters. Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Civil Aviation, Eli Zakor, says military and private aircraft, regional security forces, and the Coast Guard are all involved in the search, but no wreckage has been found. Civil aviation authorities say the plane turned southeast near Grenada just before its transponder was switched off, raising questions over whether it was deliberate. It's the second unresolved disappearance along this same flight path in recent years, following a similar case in December of 2023. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has announced a package of economic reforms aimed at attracting investment and giving Cubans living abroad a greater role in the island's economy. On Friday, Diaz-Canel said the time has come for change and that Cuba cannot continue on its current path. He said the government has set out a group of priorities and to address the crisis, though he gave no details on the reforms or a timeline for their rollout. The announcement also points to plans to decentralize parts of the country's administration. It comes as Cubans continue to face severe fuel shortages and food insecurity, made worse by tightened U.S. restrictions on the island's oil supply earlier this year. Washington has said the measures are designed to pressure Cuba's government to change its political and economic model. The U.S. State Department has not commented directly on Diaz-Canel's remarks. Internationally, the United States and Iran have reached an initial agreement to extend their fragile ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but major obstacles remain before the war can officially end. Mediator Pakistan says the deal is due to be signed in Geneva on Friday, but will not take effect until then. Even if the strait, a key route for global oil and gas, reopens as planned, experts say it could take months for the energy crisis sparked by its closure to ease. One major sticking point is Lebanon. Earlier today, Israel said its forces will not withdraw from the land seized during the ongoing fight against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah. Israel joined the U.S. in launching the war back in February, but is not a party to this agreement. And a spokesman for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel will continue defending itself against any threat. That could prove a deal breaker, since Iran has insisted any final agreement must include an end to the fighting in Lebanon. The deal also gives negotiators 60 days to resolve what happens to Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, a source of deep concern for both Washington and Israel. Ghana has threatened legal action against Canada after midfielder Thomas Partey was denied a visa to play in his team's World Cup opener while he awaits trial on rape charges. The 32-year-old was forced to return to Ghana's base camp in Rhode Island after Canada refused his application to enter the country for Wednesday's match against Panama in Toronto. Partey faces rape charges from several women dating back to his time at Arsenal between 2020 and 2025. He's due to stand trial in London later this year and has pleaded not guilty. Ghana's foreign ministry called Canada's decision high-handed and extremely unfair, arguing that relying on unproven charges before a court ruling raises serious questions of fairness. The government says it has filed an official protest with Canadian authorities and is prepared to pursue every diplomatic and legal option available, including a possible judicial review before Canada's federal court. We now take a look at the weather. Today's high will reach 33 degrees Celsius or 91 degrees Fahrenheit. while the overnight low is expected to fall to 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Stable atmospheric conditions are expected to prevail across the area during the next 24 hours. Expect partly sunny skies today with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Winds will be from the east at 17 to 31 kilometers per hour or 10 to 20 miles per hour, while gusts reaching as high as 46 kilometers per hour or 29 miles per hour. Seas will be moderate with waves between 1.2 and 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. Sunset today will be at 6:46 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 5:37 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.